I'm Buddha Quake. Lord Galacron has been released from hospital after his litter-romantic accident at Windy Willows last week.
I'm okay. Just some magical backlash, mostly. I've got a nasty burn that might take some time to heal, but my pride's hurt more than anything. We're going to finish the job, of course, but my royal mother is holding off now until we can figure out what went wrong for sure. I appreciate all the support and well-wishing. I really didn't expect it, and I'd like to apologize for all the trouble. Thank you.
The Brocktrees and the Owsla have opened a joint investigation into the incident.
Nah, just a precautionary measure, that's all. Arabnus seems to think it's likely just human error. Well, when a credible threat exists to Chief Rabbit and our son, well, we think it's a good idea to explore all angles. We don't assume anything in this job anymore.
Despite Commander Stretch's reassurances, the involvement of both House security forces has led to speculation. What do you think, Aaron? Do you think it's just a precautionary measure, as the commander put it, or do you think that's a smokescreen to cover up a deeper concern?
Oh, I have no doubt that Stretch is just being a professional paranoid. But that's his job. And it's true that we can't be too careful. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. And let's face it, both Sable and Gala have made their share of enemies for one reason or another. It's good to be sure anyway.
Yeah. In other news, there have been reports of increased clandestine litter-romantic activity around the port of Seattle. Any thoughts on that, Aaron?
Nope, you?
Nope. Right then, on to our next story. The Center for Filking Control has folded due to a lack of public support and lack of government funding. It appears that the Lapin Protectorate has decommissioned and defunded the agency.
I wonder why that might have happened, Buddha.
Instead, the Lapin Protectorate has opened a new agency, the Center for Filking Research and Development, and appointed Filkmaster Prinx Tempest as its head and royal patron. We have this statement from Queen Sable.
It has become clear that if filking is a plague, it's as beneficial as mitochondria. Research from the Sauropodon Protectorate suggests that filking is, in fact, an extremely old magic, one that likely predates our civilizations and possibly even our species. Filking has personally aided numerous litteromancers in important magical acts. Indeed, my own experiences have served as case studies. Filking ended the Third World War, and while the resurrections effected by the art were not perfect, they were indeed resurrections, allowing King Bob and the army of Mount Mitchell to call upon the Iron Tone's powers without bringing about any greater act of destruction. We should be studying these powers to learn more about how to use them safely and effectively, rather than trying to suppress them. The CFRD will undertake this mission, seeking ways to advance and improve upon this art without inflicting undue harm. I have every faith that this work is in good hands under the charge of my sibling, Prinx Tempest, the Filkmaster.
Aaron, what do you think of this development?
Well, it's about time. Listen, Buddha, on 2 occasions now, Sable's been able to resurrect our son Gala with the power of filking. And I understand this last time, she even had yours and Tempest's help. And countless good Tempest has done as the Filkmaster can't be denied. I think it makes a lot of more sense to try to harness these powers for good purposes rather than stop anyone from using them at all.
That makes sense to me, Aaron. In other news, Queen Terra hosted her birthday tea party this week at the Cavern. A number of luminaries of the realm were in attendance, including Queen Sable, Archon Mycolavoid, Panda Polymarch Senna Nightshade, Prinx Tempest, Princess Rowan, Captain Dazzlecat, Dame Flub, and Dame Atoraru. The party seems to have been a rousing success for interhouse diplomacy, despite the fact that most of the Tome Knights went home covered in glitter.
Yeah. I think most of them thought of that as a feature rather than a bug, Buddha. But I do have to voice my apology to Queen Tara. I was feeling under the weather that day.
However, reports now suggest that glitter storms are beginning to become a problem around the globe, some of which are even associated with extreme weather events such as tornadoes. Have you seen one of these glitter storms yet, Aaron?
Yeah, we had one in the Okanagan last week. Sweeping up the dust has been a major effort to avoid it becoming a hazard, but Sable seems to appreciate that everything is shinier.
I guess I can understand that. Now, speaking of the Okanagan, the unicorn sighting in the Okanagan Valley last week has been determined to have been a hoax by the New Creatures Division of the World Litteramantic Academy. However, the jackalope sighting in the Okanagan Desert near Penticton has been confirmed. Dr. Lena Hoffman has more.
We established the New Creatures Division because of the large number of legendary and mythical creatures that have been reported in increasing numbers since the reawakening of the Iron Tome. It was evident that someone needed to be looking into this from a scientific perspective. We've since confirmed that a number of cryptids have made an appearance, or reappearance as it were. While most are exceedingly rare, they do exist, and all indication is that they are likely to increase in population as litteromancy continues to develop and grow. Since our formation, we've been primarily concerned with either confirming cryptid sightings or debunking hoaxes. We have a rigorous standard of investigation that requires a number of factors be present, including a clear visual image, physical signs of the creature's presence in the environment, spoor, biological traces such as hair or teeth that display unique genetic profiles, frequency of sightings, and more. While we have confirmed 2 unicorn sightings so far, we believe sightings in the North Okanagan last week started as an internet hoax that later became wishful thinking on the part of the local populace, which is perfectly understandable. However, we have confirmed that there is a small jackalope burrow in Kalamalka Provincial Park. We caution you, however, to please not disturb them. Jackalopes can be very aggressive. One of the ways in which we confirmed their presence was that a hiker disturbed their territory and came away with antlers growing on his shins. For the time being, that hiking trail is closed to the public. And just a reminder that cryptids are considered endangered species under international law, and the Leopard Protectorate has additional protections in place for lagomorph cryptids, so potential trophy hunters may want to think twice. I'm sure no one wants the personal wrath of the mother of bunnies coming down upon their heads. We will continue to release updates as more information becomes available. With any luck, we will be able to study these jackalopes in the wild, from a respectful distance, of course. Thank you.
Well, Aaron, what do you think about the New Creatures Division and the appearance of animals previously thought to be figments of the imagination?
The Tasmanian wolf was once thought to be a figment of the imagination, but was later proven to exist. And that story repeats a lot with endangered species in the world. In a way, I don't really think this is any different. Maybe some of these things didn't appear until the reawakening of the tome, but that doesn't mean they didn't exist before. And who knows? It wouldn't surprise me if many of them have existed all this time, alongside litteromancers and werebeasts. But nobody has been paying attention because nobody wanted to accept that magic was real. Now, of course, the fact just can't be denied. I think it's likely that we'll continue to discover more cryptids over the next few years, and that we should be prepared for that. How about you? What do you think?
Well, I guess the definition of cryptid probably varies with the reality you're from. I mean, we have jackalopes in the Leetspeak reality. I didn't realize you didn't have them here before.
Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, I guess I never thought of that. So, Buddha, are you where the various totem folk have come from? Like we have bunnykin at the Warren now. They're not numerous, but they're there. Is that a phenomenon that you're familiar with?
No. As far as I know, the only sapients from the reality I come from were humans. Even beasts were unknown to us. But hey, why not? My spouse is living fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm married to a star hare. I feel that.
And moving on to sports. The Litteramantic Games and the Tourney of Tales continue in the swamp. Malleus has held a pretty commanding lead in the tourney with the aid of House Iloris, but the bunnies closed the gap considerably last week over the course of a Litteramantic ritual that we'll be getting to later. However, House Lappin seems determined to hold on to the lead in the games, with participants enthusiastically getting into a number of events. Aaron, any comments?
I just want to say that I'm especially proud of the house of my birth and my daughter's house for doing well in the tourney. Morale was high and it shows. I have to admit I'm not sure this will translate in November or even in July. Lappin's a big house and Molluska is also a big house that traditionally is one of the houses to beat. Still, Iloris has picked up a lot of new litteromancers who have been identified recently, and right now the Badgers are running with it, and I love it.
Well, it's nice to see for everyone, I think. I have some concerns about Chiroptera and Sauropoda, though. Both houses suffered a lot of attrition in the Third Word War and seem to be especially affected by the disappearance of the missing. Do you think they'll be able to boost their numbers in time for November?
I've been concerned too, Buddha, but it's hard to say. Either way, I'm sure the great houses will figure something out. We've been establishing a tradition in the modern litteromantic age of looking out for one another. I'm sure that we'll figure out a way to find reinforcements. Still, if you're a litteromancer just coming into your powers right now, I'd suggest they could use the boost.
I agree, Aaron. Now, the closing of the gap in the Melee's lead at the Tourney of Tales is probably largely due to a litteromantic ritual spearheaded by your royal wife, as I understand it, Aaron. So rather than me reading the sheet, why don't you tell us about it?
Okay. Well, during the Battle of Mount Mitchell in the Third Word War, I was able to trap the Night King in a partially finished manuscript I was writing to address another problem that I'd inadvertently created through litteromancy. Nothing serious, but not something that could be ignored either. But the imprisonment is incomplete, probably in part because the original manuscript was unfinished, but maybe it's because it's a first draft mess. Sable believes she's capable of editing it into a more complete manuscript that will complete the trap. However, she's understandably wary of the dangers of magic drain, and she doesn't want to repeat her experience in the Third World War. Frankly, I don't want her to either. So once again, we've turned to a litteromantic ritual. If other litteromancers in the realm contribute to a litteromantic battery, she can use that energy to buy editing time to deal with the Night King. A number of Tome Knights, once again, the defenders of the realm, and a number of supporters are working to generate that battery of energy. The forward combatants are aiming for a nano in a week, which supports writers that are setting their own goals and contributing to the batteries generated by those combatants. When it's done, Sable will draw upon that pool to do battle with the Night King, aided by the writers who support the right. I'm writing for it myself, of course. I'm not about to leave Sable to do battle without me backing her up, but any help we could get is greatly appreciated.
Well, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of direct risk to the combatants this time.
Not really, no. If they don't meet their goals, the energy they generate is just unusable, that's all. The only direct threat is to me, Sable, and anybody who contributes to the litteromantic edit.
Oh, understood. All right. Well, of course, we all wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Buddha.
And our final story tonight, the ritual to rebuild Penwall continues. We have this statement from Archon Mykolaiv.
As you all know, this last month, House Iluris has been working on a ritual to speed along the construction of our capital, Penwall. I am happy to say that while we do not have the final numbers in just yet, the ritual is going extremely well. We have several Tome Knights from other houses who have pledged some of their words and litteromantic power to our aid, as well as our own efforts. I would like to take the moment to thank each of you, both those I know of and those I might not yet, for your support and aid during this ritual. It warms my heart to know that the realm is full of those kind enough to lend a helping hand wherever it is needed. Thank you. For those who wish to contribute and don't know how, please forward your questions to myself or Panda Polemark, Senna Nightshade.
Well, sounds like things are going well.
To all indications, there have been surprisingly few problems, yeah. I don't want to jinx it, so I'm not going to say we're in the clear yet, but Sable and I have been checking in on the Penwall from time to time throughout the month, and the support has been amazing, and it looks like everything has been running smoothly. It's a nice change of pace.
Oh, glad to hear it, Aaron. That's it for WLA News Now.
And thank you for joining us. As always, you can support us on Twitch, YouTube, Patreon, all the usual places, or you can get a membership directly on our website, Thank you for watching.
And may the words be ever in your favor.
And thank you, Buddha.